You're watching Tools for Talent on TFT TV. I'm your host, Cheryl Martinez, and today I have the cast and director from Smokescreen with me. Woo! Welcome to the show, guys. I just want to introduce each of you real quick, and if you can just say what your role was in the film and kind of go across the line. So we have Sean Buttimer.
Hello, my name is Sean, as she said. I was the writer, director, and one of the characters. I play a hitman in the movie. His name is Padraig.
And we have Dechen Thurman.
Yes, I play a computer expert and communications engineer who is also on the other team and is also a killer.
And Aesha Wax.
Hi, I played Emma Pierce. She was a contract killer as well as Sean, and she partners with Sean, and they do a little teamwork together.
So how did you guys come together to work on this film together?
So when I was getting this all set up to finally shoot the whole thing, I was missing a few roles, of course, and I said, I need somebody to play the lead actress, Emma, and one of the other castmates, he said, "Well, I may have a few people for you," and so he sent out an email to about, I think, 3 different people, and Aesha was the first person to get back to me, and so we kind of went back and forth for a minute.
So you didn't actually know each other?
No, we did not know each other, but then during the course of that, we found out that we lived pretty close to each other, and we were like, well, now we have to meet up.
Yeah.
And so
You guys didn't know each other when
No.
we made that movie? I thought you guys already knew each other.
Did not.
Because I feel like the vibe I've already been getting from you guys is that you're already like a family,
Oh, yeah.
This film, it looks like it's really brought you together.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit what the film is about?
Sure. So I based the idea somewhat on the Solyndra scandal from a few years ago. I mean, that was many news cycles ago, so I don't even know if anybody even remembers. But that basically was a company who took, it was close to $600 million in federal subsidies, and they were a solar panel company. And basically a few months after they took this bailout, they filed bankruptcy. And so I basically took that idea and said, well, what if that whole thing was a ruse and it was done on purpose? And so I took that idea and basically made this fictional solar panel company which exists simply to extract money from the feds and basically pay back all their little clandestine investors. And then, from that, I just kind of took like this kind of Reservoir Dogs type storyline where there's an attorney general who needs to be assassinated because he's asking too many questions. He's digging a little too deep.
Wow.
And that's where some of us kind of come in.
I've always been curious about, killing and stuff in movies. Like, how is it done behind the scenes? Like, can you explain, the whole special effects and what goes into creating scenes like that?
Sure. So we did all practical effects, which means that we actually did have somebody load up what are blood squibs, and so at the right moment they pressed the button and it exploded, and on screen it looks like somebody's getting shot, basically.
Do either of you guys get shot in the movie?
No, but I shoot, and I did have to have a replica lesson with the special effects team. We got into a circle and we had practice sessions.
I would love to kind of see a little demo of what that was like. Unless you guys want to maybe act out one of the scenes for us. Give us a little taste of something for the audience to get them hyped about the film.
We might could go through the actual steps because we had to, first step here, second step here, as we're entering rooms and stuff.
Wow.
Because she needs to be shooting this way, I need to be shooting that way. So it was very choreographed when we actually went in to do the scene.
You should send them some footage.
These two guys take on a small army.
Aww.
By the end, it's just them versus the bad guys with one handsome mole hidden.
I wonder who that is.
One handsome guy who's connected. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I've been killed in movies a bunch of times. I've been a dead body that people find, but never got to be the killer. And
You did
so
great.
I know, right? I had my prop gun and all the shots we did leading up to it. I'm like, when do I get to shoot the guy? When do I get to shoot him? And Sean kept saying, no, it's supposed to be a secret. Keep it quiet. Don't let him know.
Sean took me to a shooting range.
Oh,
So
I did that once. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Really loud.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Do you guys have like a favorite line from the film that you can act out for us real quick? Any lines that speak to you?
Well, I can't editorialize my own writing, so they're going to have to take over.
Yeah,
Let us know what their
that
favorite
question
line
was for you guys.
Well,
Surprise the director with your favorite line.
It's
Please
a little
do.
hot sitting in between Sean and Aesha because their characters really have this romantic, gangster lover chemistry.
It's a good thing you're in between them
And,
then. We don't
like,
need none of that on set.
I know, right? Like, so when you see that, that chemistry really comes out, and that relationship. It's like a respect, but it's a love and it's a passion, and
I want to hear one of your lines.
Say one of your lines.
one of my
Yeah,
lines.
say one of your lines.
One of my lines from Smokescreen.
Yes. One of your favorite
My
lines.
character, he's kind of stealth. But let's see. At the end, I guess I say? I transferred the rest of his money. We've got all the evidence. What are we going to do with the bodies?
Mm-hmm.
So my guy, he knew the expert stuff, like all the tech stuff, but like when it came to all the dead bodies, we had to like bury or hide or something. That
was our
that's their
specialty.
job. So my guy, he's like the specialty evil, and these guys are like the nuts and bolts evil.
I see.
Different levels.
I see you doing a lot of thinking over there.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of the seduction scene
Yes,
where
that's what we want to hear.
I'm trying to, is it ruse someone into distracting them by saying, you want to have a little fun? It turns out that I was just keeping him on the sidelines so this one could come out of nowhere.
She was distracting him long
Yeah.
enough so that some money could be transferred, and meanwhile I'm sitting back in a warehouse ready with a rifle ready to take him out.
I had my dagger behind my back the
Yeah.
whole time just in case anything went wrong.
This
so.
film sounds really cool, guys.
Thank
I
you.
actually, I haven't seen it. I've only seen the cover. Not to say the cover art, and even in itself, was actually really impressive.
It's really good.
It kind of makes you want to go see the film just by looking at the cover. But now, after hearing some of this, I'm even more excited. When and where can the audience find it and see it?
So we're looking at a June 5th release. It's for sure going to be on Amazon, but then other than that, it's going to have some other digital platforms that will be on.
I heard that you got picked up by some kind of distribution.
We did. It's a new company, new video distribution company called Fox Hollow Features.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Very very excited about it. And so he's the guy that I'm working with there at Fox Hollow. He's working on getting it pitched to all the different platforms and everything. So
Well, shout out to Fox Hollow.
yes, thank you.
Nice one. Score. Smoke screens.
So how did you get started as a film director and writer, and what's your background?
So when I was, I think, probably 9 years old, my family took a trip, because I'm originally from Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
My family took a trip to Orlando, Florida, and we went to Universal Studios.
Love Universal. I spent my
Absolutely.
birthday there last year during the horror thing.
Oh, I did that last year also. Big fanatic when it comes to everything Universal.
Yeah.
But no, I was just so kind of blown away at the time. At the time, it was Back to the Future, it was Jaws, it was King Kong, and I just loved how they just kind of immersed you in the story.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was like, well, I want to design theme park rides. That's what I want to do.
Okay,
But then at a
okay.
certain point, that somehow melded into film, and then I really started, studying film, and that I started taking more of an interest in that.
Oh,
So
very cool. And did you get investor backing for this film? Where did the funding come from?
it all came from me.
You're kidding me. You funded the whole thing yourself?
I funded the whole thing.
Wow, that's
Should
impressive.
I say how?
Oh boy.
Yeah, let the people know. Let the people know.
So
We're all about keeping it real. This is
challenge,
about
you know?
providing advice for people who want to go and try to do this themselves. So.
well, this is especially poignant for all of us sitting right here because anyone who's not in New York right now does not know just how bone-chillingly cold and icy and snowy it is right now.
There's ice on the inside of my windows in my apartment
There
somehow.
absolutely is.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I think in 2014, when I originally was going to try and get the film off the ground, I walked out of my apartment, went a few steps down the sidewalk, slipped on ice, and broke my wrist,
Aww.
and had to get a plate put in and everything.
Oh, wow, that bad.
So to make a long story short, as you can probably guess what may have happened after that, there was a little bit of payout as a result of this accident.
Oh.
And so I basically said, well, it's going to be invested obviously in the movie now.
Wow.
And so that's how I was able to get the funding.
So you took a negative and turned that into a positive.
Yep.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you know I'm going to have to ask you this at one point or another because the audience wants to know.
Sure.
Do you already know what the question is?
Well, there's a couple questions, so I'm hoping it's the least nasty one. No, there's lots of great questions to ask me. So.
Your sister, having your sister be Uma Thurman. I mean, obviously, the audience wants to know, like, are you guys close? Did she help you with her career? What's the positive of having her be your sister? What's the negative?
Oh.
And what's your take on that?
Oh, well, that's a really sweet opportunity for me to address that, Cheryl. Thank you. And it's great to talk about that with Aesha by my side and Sean with me here in this interview. Uma's been so supportive as an older sister, as a role model, as a professional I could look up to. Currently, she's on Broadway, just slaying it in The Greasing Woman. And, I'm just really, really happy, how her career is going. And I'm on a different path. I'm involved in theater. I'm involved in yoga and massage as well. And
which we'll get to. Stay tuned for that.
So sometimes it'd be a little frustrating if I felt competitive with her, which it's natural, brother and sister.
Of course,
of
course.
We used to be like fighting over the chocolate or fighting over the clicker, to watch TV, and.
So as far as how you got started, would you say that she helped you get started in the industry or vice versa? Or,
Well,
how'd you get into the acting?
Yeah, well, I came in a different path, more focused on the theater and more educated at the NYU Tisch School of the Arts. And a little bit more driving some of my own material with theater company and, trying out different shows. But there are definitely moments, for example, in 1994, I was out in Los Angeles when she was shooting Truth About Cats and Dogs. And we were hanging out with Janine Garofalo and the guys from Mr. Show and ordering exotic coffees and stuff. And Uma and Janine were like, Dechen, you should be in the movie too. Why don't you do a scene? And,
why don't you do a scene? Just like that.
So I got to do a scene. That was 20th Century Fox movie. So that's a big boost.
Oh yeah.
And but mostly we've kept it pretty separate. Would
you say that was your biggest film to date?
Oh well.
That you've had an opportunity to participate in?
Well, certainly those are my best residual checks I get from SAG.
Well, that's important.
It's a popular movie. But I would say I have a bit part in Zoolander that I got through meeting all the casting directors in New York over the years. His name is Funky Loft Guest.
Okay.
And you have to kind of watch him carefully. He's upside down. You only see his feet upside down in the last shot of the Hansel party scene. Okay?
What's the funky stuff that you're doing in that
scene?
Well,
it's a funky upside down yoga. See, the scene had so many things. It had goats, had Tibetan monks, it had video game players, it had skateboarders. And I was set up in the last shot in the position where the crane was. So my shot was going to be last.
Yeah.
And I was playing a yoga teacher. I was partnered up with a model. And we decided to switch it so that the model would actually be massaging my feet while they were upside down. And it gets a little laugh. Just my feet. Right, and enough that Ben Stiller gave me screen credit on the film. A lot of extras in that scene, they don't get a listing and a residual.
Yeah.
So really,
that shows up on your IMDb and everything.
Oh yeah.
Right?
So in terms of screen time, it's not a lot of screen time, but ratio of laughter per amount of screen time, I'm right up there.
Nice.
I'm right up there because with just my feet.
It's a memorable moment.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching in the screening as it came out, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not even going to be in this." I'm going to watch this, and then I thought, "Okay."
And you made the whole audience laugh.
Yeah, but maybe if my feet are just kind of tickled in a certain way, like just at that moment, if they edit it right, it could get a laugh. And when I sat in that theater, and I heard that laugh of everybody, and then I realized everybody in America in all those little movie theaters are also going to have this one little laugh. So to get one laugh in Zoolander, that's, that is the highlight of my current feature film stuff. But, as an actor, a lot of my work was in avant-garde theater, off-Broadway theater, independent projects, stuff that when I'm a big star in the future, they'll dig up and I won't want people to see.
So are you saying you're not proud of this avant-garde theater work?
Well, you're proud of all your work as an actor, but there's definitely stuff that you forget that you did when you were in a certain stage. You just wanted to get in front of any camera. You wanted to get in front of to be in any movie.
I'm going to be looking up this stuff. I don't know what kind of crazy things I'm going to say.
A lot of crazy little bits, but. I'm still looking for that big lead character to really knock it down. But I think that's something I'll create myself, maybe even in my YouTube show.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to talk about your YouTube show as well. Don't let me forget. But I do want to hear from Aesha real quick how you got started as an actress.
Okay, back when my mom was around, I would not call her a stage mom. I would call her a huge supporter of mine. And we were reading Backstage magazine newspaper one day, and there was a film called The Money Shot that was a short. And she was reading the paper, and she saw that I marked it. She goes, "You're going to go on this, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I was thinking about it." She goes, "This is a Mailer family production." She goes, "Norman Mailer is my favorite author." She goes, "I wonder if his son is an amazing writer as well." She goes, "He's probably fantastic." And she really educated me on the family. And when I went down to the audition, I ended up getting 7 callbacks for this role.
Wow.
And I ended up getting it. And it was
7 callbacks?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was
sounds like
that
murder.
would have annoyed the hell out of me.
Nerves. The nerves.
It was my first film outside of theater, and I did book it, and it went on to getting me cast in not only their short, which won me Best Actress at the French Avignon Film Festival at NYU. He moved on to make a feature, and then I had another 5 auditions for that, and I ended up booking that and starring against Stephen Lang for that one.
Wow, congratulations. That's huge.
After that...
How old were you?
I was 16. It was 16.
That's when I met you.
Yeah. And I was just getting offers left and right after that. The Mailer family took me in as one of their own. He was mentoring me. The family was there for me, and I was getting people handing me scripts left and right. Arresting Gina. I got the lead of that against Sam Rockwell and Paul Giamatti and Summer Phoenix and Kirk Acevedos, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on, the amount of people I worked with, and I ended up winning People's Choice Best Actress at the Olympia Film Festival after I went to Sundance for that, which was...
That's right, you won 2 awards, didn't you?
Yeah, and that was but the film won a lot more awards than that, and the Arresting Gina got film with the most buzz at Sundance, and I was just getting approached left and right, freelancing with William Morris at the time. I was offered a role in John Cryer's next film, playing his girlfriend, and that went to Coney Island on a mission from God. And I just stopped auditioning after a while, and people were just handing me roles. I did around 20 films at that time.
Wow.
Starring and some co-starring, like, you know, the female supporting to the lead, and some TV. And third watch, and it just started spiraling out of control. It was really beyond me at that point.
One role you played a nun. You played Sister, what was her name?
Sister
I
Claire.
was the exorcist, Father Joe Miller. And Aesha was Sister Claire, my assistant, and we performed 3 or 4 exorcisms, all over the city.
Yeah. That must have been cool, though.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Well, when Aesha calls you, you know that you've got an inside track to the job.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many films would you say you've done, and you as well?
I've acted in a little over 20 films. You know, maybe 8 or 9 of those are SAG films, and about the same amount of theatrical productions over the years. I used to have a theater group.
Was it just the one that you did with your sister Uma?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, Truth About Cats and Dogs and Hamlet. You know, with Michael Almeida. Yeah, it's a great film.
It was amazing.
Ethan Hawke, and I got to work with Stephen Zahn quite a bit.
Wow.
And I was in a Civil War movie directed by Ron Maxwell, the director of Gettysburg, on TNT, and it's called Gods and Generals. So that's some historical work that I did, and in terms of the major features. And then a lot of it's indies, you know, independent films, which, you know, is a little bit like a harbinger of where we are today with YouTube and Amazon and Netflix. You know, was this diversity of film production, not just one movie theater with 5 theaters and 3 networks. You know, like that was coming. It's been a long time coming, but there's this diversity of content and this ability of the viewer to request their content, and that brings alive so many films and projects and artists that, you know, in the old days would have been locked out if you weren't the perfect blonde, you know, blue-eyed, you know, perfect look, you know, and there's more depth in characters, I think, today in film production. You know, there's
absolutely
diversity,
yeah.
All right, everybody, let's practice some hand yoga, some mudra for good health.
Mudra.
Yeah. Take your 2 little fingers and touch them to your thumbs. So your 2 big fingers are extending away. Yeah. This is the Pran Mudra. It's healthy for your eyes.
I like saying these words.
Yeah, right? That's the most fun part about being a yoga teacher, are the exotic words. And we're going to combine it with an affirmation.
Okay.
So I'll say the first part, you guys will repeat. I'll say the second part, you guys will repeat.
Got it.
And the affirmation for Pran Mudra is, I have an appetite for the rewards of life.
I have an appetite for the rewards of life. Oh, we sound horrible.
I have digestion for the challenges of life.
I have digestion for the challenges of life.
And you just charge that up. Any challenges that come your way, that's just making your digestion stronger. And it takes an appetite to take in what's good. You know, a lot of yogas and therapies, they talk about quitting this, don't do that, don't do this. But they don't really teach you how to receive.
Yeah.
You know, how to really take in. And that's, when you take in something that's good, you don't want stuff that's bad. You know, if you focus only on getting rid of stuff that's bad, in a way, how do you know when you're taking in something that's good?
So during your session, would we be repeating that over and over again then?
Sometimes, yeah, we'll do a high volume repetition, and also when you say it, the more you say it out loud, you believe it, because how you speak about yourself is so powerful for how you move and how people respond to you.
Yeah.
And other times it's nonverbal stuff, you know, all your basic stuff, stretching, doing yoga stretches, doing yoga movements. It has all the fun of modern yoga and all the magic of, you know, ancient yoga.
Just those words in themselves are so powerful, right? If you just really take a second to think about them and how much meaning that has, just a quote to just even live by, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was was really great. Thank you. I think I'm gonna try to start tuning into your Dechen's Daily Dharma show.
Yeah, Dechen's Daily Dharma got plugged on TFT TV. I'm so pumped in my first week. Oh my God! Thanks to Aesha, called me in for this interview. You know.
This has been so much fun, guys. Thank you so much for being here today on the show. I got the cast and the director from Smokescreen. Make sure you guys go check out the film, support the film. Stay tuned for what's in store with these amazing actors and director and screenwriter. I was honored to have you guys on the show. Thank you again for being here. Again, you guys are watching Tools for Talent on TFT TV, and I'm your host, Cheryl Martinez. Check out Smokescreen.
Hibernation's over. It's time that you come out that cage. It's time I get to know ya. Since the first time that I saw ya, I knew what he did to ya. Froze you with the ice at the price of you giving up. His ego got him thinking he don't need yo. Besides, he's convinced that you're trapped up in his iglo. You really want the frost, so you give up your freedom, and now you're really lost, and you just wanna leave him. Well, fuck him, you don't need him. Why? Cause I'm here, baby. I'll make it rain. I wish away your tears, put it in second gear, and let's get out of here. I burn